lady,
I'm not
okay?
making fun. I'm not. Trust me. It takes me a while. Hi, Deb. How are you?
Well, I figured out how to go live, which is this is my first live.
Your
So
first live? Okay.
I also
Welcome.
did get my first dick pic ever.
Okay. And how was
Not,
that?
I did not like that. I did not like that at all.
I'm
That was
sure.
bad.
I'm sure. I'm married. It's been many years since I've received one, and I didn't
Never
even like
got
it
one.
then.
I didn't like it, and so I had to block. I had to report, block, delete. I was like, oh, yeah. I didn't know that I shouldn't open like every message that comes.
No, no,
I'm
Deb.
learning. I'm learning.
Now, how are you doing? Are you still in LA, or did you fly back? Yeah, the pillow.
I'm back in Pittsburgh working. We
Okay.
flew back Sunday. Both Phil and I had to get back to work, so
Yes.
we're back. It was awesome though.
Yeah,
Super
you had
fun.
a good time.
Yeah.
That's good. Thank you for joining us tonight. Thank you for joining me. You're actually my first interview, so I'm so
Woo!
excited to have
so
you. So thank you for joining me live. Let me turn my music down because I feel like I can't hear myself.
And I see someone saying Rachel. Oh my gosh, the real Rachel, you guys, you got to get the real Rachel on here.
Oh
Because
my
she's
God.
got like this really dry, like she's funny. You
Yeah.
would get a big kick out of her. Yeah.
How does-
You should get all the catfish on.
How does she feel about her face being out there and you pretending to be her?
Oh, she thinks it's hilarious. She
Yeah.
thinks it's really funny. She went to Penn State, and someone from Penn State reached out to her and said, "Could we interview you?" And she's like, "Okay,
Why not?
yeah." So why not?
Yes. Okay, we'll get started. I'm going to just ask you some questions. We're going to have fun. And I have a friend in the comments that are pinning comments for you from the fans. So we'll see how that goes.
And like I said, I got Phil Oda and Linda.
Oh my God. Hi, Phil. I love that pillow. That's the most famous pillow, I think, from the
I got,
circle.
best thing ever. All right,
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm ready. Ask me whatever you want. I'm ready.
So first I have to ask, this is easy. This is an easy first question.
Okay.
Have you gone to Staten Island with Nikki and JoJo yet?
Okay, that's coming.
It's coming.
So, we couldn't get together. We're not allowed to follow each other or do anything. So
Okay.
I've been to New York since we filmed, but I didn't go see that. Like, I was even afraid to like do anything, like even though you could save your, videos, but I am going next month. So look out for a meeting of me and the twins' dad. That's my goal, is to meet the twins' dad, because he's a hoot. You guys
Yes,
watch
he's a
him on
hoot.
TikTok?
Yes, from what I've seen of their videos on TikTok, and even the video from the circle when they called in, I was like,
Yeah.
that is funny. He's
Super
everything
funny.
you
So
need.
that's, yeah, so I will be there next month. Hi, love you guys too. And I'm excited for that. And to go back to Staten Island is just, and that's how we call it. That's how we say it. Staten Island. It's
Yeah.
Staten Island. And so I'm hoping that works out, that they're there when I'm there.
Yeah,
So we'll see.
You guys have to, and you got to go get the ices that you're talking about.
Ices and slices. I mean, we're going to go to Danino's and then Ralph's. Like, that's what we got to do.
I'm jealous. I'm jealous. My husband is from Philly, so he calls it water ice.
Water ice right now. This is ices.
I get Italian ices. I don't know what
Italian ices. Not water ice. Not water ice. Italian ices.
Now, looking back on the circle, how important do you think that alliance was with Gianna to get you through the games?
It's the only one that mattered, right?
Yes.
If you think about it, we at the end rated each other number one.
Yes.
Our word was our bond. And what's funny, it's so hard to explain it, that when I saw they were from Staten Island, I was like, I'm from Staten Island. I'm like, oh no, I'm not. Rachel's not. And then I had to figure out how to like do this, because I knew it's such a strange, interesting place to grow up. Like, it's very unique. There's certain things that only people from Staten Island get. And so I figured if I could make a bond with her, we would understand each other. We would do our best to always rate each other one or two. Like, it was water ice. Yeah. It was, I just knew that would stay, and it did. And it was interesting to watch that we never wavered from each other.
And were you happy watching it back to see that they just kept voting you number one every time?
I was kept saying, I was always like, my girl. That was my adopted daughter. When I tell you, no idea. I was like going to take her out. We were going to get mani-pedis. I had girls' days out planned. Like, I was like, this girl, I'm going to buy her jewelry. Like, I was all set to like have her as my pseudo daughter. Like, That was it. It was in my head. That was it.
On a scale from 1 to 10, when they walked in, see, to show you guys who they were, like, what were you feeling?
Ooh, you see it. I actually am screaming because that cannot be like. There's no possible way.
Yeah.
And you saw everyone like
Everyone.
that was everyone there. There was. I thought Kevin was a 38-year-old like douchey guy. I thought Kevin was trying to like be like, I'm a lifeguard. I seriously, when I saw him, I don't know if you could kind of hear me say this. Like as soon as I see him, I go, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I saw he was a baby. Like I was so mean about him, and I was so mean to him because I'm thinking I'm talking to some 38-year-old guy who thinks he's cool. And then I walk in as a mom, and I'm like, baby, I'm so sorry.
So do you think you would have used that blackmail on him if you really had to? And how would you have used that?
If I had to, if something had to come out, be like, listen, he's lying about, I would have just said, he admitted it to me and he's not who he says he is. And, I just would have said, obviously we can't trust him.
Yeah. Which a funny thing about Kevin is I feel like every single person has said at one point, we cannot trust Kevin. But yet Kevin's all the way at the end. So what happened?
There's something to be said for the game. He's this great, young, happy-go-lucky guy. And that's kind of how he played the game, right? Yeah. Like, he's like, sure, I'll make it a lot. Like, that's how he is in life. He's just this really nice, friendly guy. And he's like, I'm everybody's friend. Sure.
Yeah.
And he believes what you tell him. You tell him someone was trying to get you in the game, he goes, okay. He believed it when I was like, I am who I said I am. He's like, okay.
Okay.
And that's why I felt so bad when I realized this is this young, nice, sweet kid. I was like, I'm so sorry.
He had us on the edge of our seat, okay? every episode I thought he was going home. He was either an influencer or he was saved.
Well, I voted him last every single time except during Super Secret Influencer. Yeah. He was my last vote like every single time. So I was always shocked when he was still there. So I'm like, I'm voting him last. I'm always voting him. What? What is happening here?
Did you always know that you wanted to play as a catfish?
Well, first of all, I had never seen the show before I applied.
Oh, you didn't? That was my next question, so that's good to know.
Yeah, my friend's daughter, she and her fiance are obsessed with The Circle since season 1, and I guess they were casting almost 2 years ago. I think it's about 2 years ago now. And almost not quite 2 years ago, and they called me and they're like, we think you should apply for this reality TV show. So I watched a couple of trailers and I said, there's no older people on there. She goes, no, there are. There's like every other season, there's like an older person. I said to her, I'll make you a deal. If you come on FaceTime with me and help me fill out the application, I'll do it.
Yeah.
I mean, I was brutal. So anyone who wants to how'd you get on the show? I was brutally honest in my answers and they were wacky. I mean, my answers are wacky because I'm a little wacky, right? Like I'm a little out there. So I answered them very honestly, but funny. I phrased everything in a way so that they could get a flavor of what I was like. Yeah. But then we get to the end and they're like, you need to make a 1-minute video. And I said, Maddie, what am I supposed to do in this video? And she said, you know what, Deb, get off the phone, film yourself just talking at them like you would talk to me. I said, okay. So 1-minute video literally is me going, hi, I'm Deb. I'm super funny. You should put me on. Like, I'm awesome, but I actually don't care if you don't put me on. Like, it's no big deal. Like, whatever. And I sent it to her. She's like, send it. And that was it.
Wow.
And I did not watch a full season till I made it to the 3rd round because I kept thinking there's no way that they actually want me on that show. And after the 3rd round of casting, I was like, I better watch. And I binged every season.
Wow. So going in as a catfish, did you study any of the other catfishes and see where they went wrong? Because they go wrong. They go wrong.
I did. And the worst part about it, I wish we didn't get to keep our notebooks that we brought in with us.
Aww.
The amount of work that I did beforehand, the amount of I came in with a notebook with, if you see me flipping a lot.
Yeah.
I had a section for acronyms. I had a section for, cool words. I had a section for, what if anyone asked me my favorite, group was growing up would have been. Like I had a section for anything for that age. I sat with my sons and their friends and Matt, like anyone who was between the ages of, 22 and 30, and it, because I was like, oh, people mess up because they don't know this. So I went in overly confident. Yes, I would say that if anyone is ever going in as a catfish as someone that they're of a different age, yeah, don't be overly confident. Like I was like, I got that.
Well, I think the catfishes and you, and obviously Gianna, because they won. I think when you are still yourself, you're not like, it's one thing to be a catfish and be another face and all that, but when you have to lie about your job, everything, it's like, how can you remember all those lies?
And the notes, oh my gosh, and the notes you take. Like, so I was like so concerned about, I had to remember what I had said in my 26-year-old with each person. Like it was and they don't show this, but there literally were times in the apartment where I actually stopped myself and go, what's going on? Who am I? What did I say about, like, I'm really confused.
Yeah. What was, I guess, the biggest surprise from being a watcher and then getting in the apartment? Like, what was the biggest surprise to you?
The biggest surprise, I think, was actually how stressed you actually, like, I don't know, you kind of watch it and you do know that, okay, I guess it's stressful, but you're kind of by yourself. You're not seeing these people, right?
Yeah.
I watched it and I was like, well, at least you're not saying it to their face. It's really stressful. And I was kind of shocked at how emotional you could get just by having these conversations. And you have to remember, you guys see, I think they did a good job editing. You see the essence of the conversations. The conversations are a lot longer.
Yeah.
And I thought the editing did a very good job of getting to the essence, but there's more to it than that. So you have to understand, like, we do feel very bonded. And when you're alone all day and you've got someone that you're, just chatting with, it feels very, oh, thank God I have someone to talk to.
And then you got to think to yourself, well, are they just lying to me?
Yes, it was. I did not realize the level of stress. And it's funny, at the very end, I could see it on myself. Like, oh, I was really stressed. I could see it on my own. Like, I could tell. I was like, wow. Yeah. It was
How much harder is it to play versus like what we see on TV? Because obviously I'm one of them. We think we know the game. If we were in there, we could just play. We would know when people were lying. But how hard is it really when you're in there?
I was saying the biggest problem is not even during the chats. So when the chats are over and you get a warning, so everyone's like, well, how do you end the chats? Well, they'll say, the chat's going to end soon if you want to get your last, messages in, right?
Mm-hmm.
So then the chats are over. And it's not like you suddenly go right to another chat or you suddenly go right to a game. You have some downtime. That messes with your head big time because then you start going over like, wait, did I catch someone in some, wait, and you're trying to figure out those two have each other's back. And are they like, wait, they told me this in this chat. And you start taking all these notes and then you just start messing with your own head. Yeah. And that's why everyone's like, I would never have made that decision.
When you stew in it long enough, you might.
And I really think it's brilliant of the producers, right, to give us that downtime after that, because you do start to play it in your head.
Yeah.
You start to go, wait, no, that would be bad. Oh my God, wait. And you make stupid decisions. 100%.
Okay, 100%. So I have some rapid fire questions I want to ask you that are just my own, because I'm a fan. I just need to know these things, okay?
All right, go.
First, who buys the food and the activities that you guys do in terms of puzzles? And do you make a list?
Yes. So it's really interesting. The food, it's brilliant. Every 2 days, you give a grocery list because they don't know who's going out. So they're not going to buy you a week's worth of food.
Yeah.
So every 2 days, you make a list. Sense. Yes, right? Like, oh, I didn't think about that either until I got in there. And they're like, so here's your list for day 1 and day 2. And I was like, huh. And then I went, oh, because they don't know if I'm going to be out. So yes, so every 2 days you make a list of food. Then I will say this, you are alone most of the time, but like someone has to come in and they check the cameras, they check the lights and your battery packs. And anytime someone come in and be like, hi, how you doing? What's going on? I was so excited to see a human being like in my apartment. People are constantly, the producers are always talking through, we call it the VOG, the voice of God. They're always talking through the speakers and stuff, but you don't really see anyone. So anytime someone would come in to like fix my battery pack, like, what's going on? How's everything going? What are you doing? And then they're like, bye, Dad. Bye. And they call you, I was called Rachel by everybody. Like they call you by the name you're playing there. So
Yeah.
that was really weird. And then, when we get our costumes and we're all surprised and stuff, and they decorate our apartments, what they do is they drop off your costume and they say, go into the bedroom with it. And you go in the bedroom and they say, don't come out till we tell you.
Yeah.
So we are literally like shocked when we see what they've done with our apartments.
Oh, that's cool.
So
I never
someone
even thought
comes
about
in.
that.
Isn't that cute? So so that was the thing that I was so grateful for. It made me really appreciate, my gosh, the costuming people, the people who do the decorations, who go find these things, who come up with these ideas. It is truly, just didn't realize how planned out and they have to do things so last minute. Like they didn't know who was going to be there for the wedding, right? So the wedding party. So they, they didn't take our measurements till after the first blocking.
Yeah. To make sure you're still there.
Right. So it's right. Like,
Yeah.
Isn't that something? The food thing was brilliant. I was like, oh, that's right. Why would you buy me a week's worth of food? I may not be here.
And that's kind of depressing though. On day 2, you're like, well, I hope I can get some bread tomorrow. Some milk.
Oh no! Wait, and then you're kind of like, wait, are they going to give me the list for the next time, or do they know something? Because then you start to think everything means something. Like someone's like, where is this grocery list? Do they know something I don't know? Something happened. Like you start to just question everything going on.
Yeah, at least y'all have a window, so at least you can see that there is a world out there.
I spent a lot of time sometimes just looking out that window.
Could you go on the balcony or no?
No.
Like, help, I'm on the circle. Okay, the question is, what is privacy like when you gotta, do your business? And do you have turn off camera notices? Like what goes on?
Yes, we do. So what you guys don't see, so the bathroom that we all get ready in, that's the fake bathroom. I mean, it works. And I did take a bath, and yes, I did take a bath in there. But off of our bedrooms is another private bathroom. And in that bathroom, that's where you actually shower and do your business. And, so what's funny is you actually, in the beginning, I'd be like, hi, I'm going to go into the bathroom now. Do I take the mic off? Will you turn it right? By day 3, I was like, I got to pee. Can you turn off my mic? Because you didn't even want to take it off my head. I'd be like, and they'd be like, yeah, we'll turn off your mic. And I was like, okay.
Yeah, so the mic still has to be off, but there's no cameras in the back private
exactly.
bathroom.
So you have your privacy in that back bathroom. Yeah. But it is funny because in the beginning I was like, hi. I'd pick up my microphone and be like, I need to use the bathroom. And then, I'm not kidding, 3 days later, you're like, I gotta poop. I don't know. Like, you don't even care.
Yeah, after a while, you don't care. You
just don't care. You just really don't care, which is very weird because it was in the beginning very I have to tell people I have to use the bathroom. That's just weird. It was just very, I don't know. And then it just all starts to feel normal. Go figure.
Your first doctor's appointment when you're pregnant, until by the time you deliver, you don't care who's looking at you.
I don't, they could have 20 med students in there. I'd be like, go ahead. Do what you got. Like, everyone take a look. Go ahead. Right. Exactly. It's exactly like that. And how long and someone just asks, how long are you there? Depends, obviously. But the filming you're actually away for 3 weeks.
Wow.
But you arrive, there's prep time where they do those intro videos and things like that. There's some other stuff that has to be done when you're there. So you're gone 3 weeks, start to finish. And even ending and going back to the hotel, having dinner with everyone. And I was in the actual apartments, I think it was a total of 2 weeks straight.
Wow. So even if you were to get kicked off, do you still have to stay at another hotel or area?
They put you in a hotel. The difference is, because Savannah, we asked her, right? And one of the first things we said to her, what'd you do the whole time? She said they actually did let her out. Which is funny, right? Did they let you out? She was able to go places, but she had to be chaperoned. They didn't want her taking pictures where people would know she was in Atlanta. They didn't want her posting on her social media that she was in Atlanta. So she was able to, she went to the zoo, she went to some museums. So she didn't have to be in the hotel the whole rest of the time.
Okay. Well, that's nice. Do you get your phones back?
Did she, oh my gosh, did she get her real phone? I think you only get your burner phone. We had burner phone. Okay. And literally the problem with burner phones, how many numbers do I know now? I know my husband's and my mother. That's it.
I would have a lot of trouble.
That's the only numbers I know. So even my kids, I had to be like, hey, Phil, what's Jason's number? So I could call him. It's just terrible.
Okay, so are the alerts really a surprise?
Yes and no. So what I
Okay.
mean by that is, so what happens, some they do try and get you shocked, okay?
Hmm.
And some of the times what will happen is you guys probably saw me. I have it on my desk still. I was doing this thing for the
Yeah.
entire time I was in there. So sometimes I'd be really into it, and the producer would be like, "Hey, Deb, you know what? I think we want you to move into the kitchen. Do you mind?" And when I look up, all of a sudden I'd be like, "Nah!" Like, like stop it! Like, why did you do that? Like, I did not know. Like, so yeah, they're not always that big of a surprise,
Yeah.
but some of those reactions are true. Like, I think there's one where I had food in my mouth, or I was like, huh? Because literally the way, and I remember that one because I was annoyed. They must have seen me eating and knew this would be
Yeah.
a good reaction. And they're like, "Hey, Deb, do you think you could see what's like? Check the kitchen that's cleaned up or something." And when I looked up, I saw the alert.
So they kind of set you up for it.
Yeah, yeah. I was set up. Yeah, the sound, we don't actually get that loud sound, probably because they know that it would eventually cause us to like walk around like this all the time. So we don't get that
Oh, so
really loud,
that's just for
horrible
us.
sound. Yes, exactly. It's just for you guys.
So, do you have any help at all once the game starts?
So no, I mean you're on your own. So envision this is what will happen. So you've got, producers, and you are writing, saying what you want to have said. So the thing that you have to remember, though, it's not back and forth as quickly as you see it.
Hmm.
So you do have a minute. So like I'll see someone write something and I'll go, huh, and then, like your producer, like they're trying to get you moving, right? They'll be like, "Hey, do you have a response?" Like,
Yeah,
and
let's get it
and it
going.
kind of gives an urgency, right? So it's not that it's a help, but it's like, oh yeah, I got to get in there. Like, oh my god, like especially those group chats, you're like, I got to get in, I got to get in.
Yeah.
And so there are times where you're really struggling because I want to massage the message, and you got to get in there. So they'll be like, "So, do you want to get a message in?" You're like, "Oh, okay, 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 okay. Wait, hang on." And you don't. Once you say it, you don't send it right away. Like, you get a minute to read it again and
Yeah.
make sure. Because there were times where I was like, "No, no, 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 no. Take that out. Take that out." Blah, 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 blah. Like, you sometimes get overly excited and you'll throw something in there and you realize, "Oh, that's bad. No, no, that's too much. We've gone a little too far."
Did it take you a while to remember, like, you have to speak everything out loud? Like, not only obviously what you're typing, but even your thought process? Because I'm sure that's something they remind you of. Like, 'cause I would just
Yes.
be in my head, like,
And the way they do that is, and that's exactly how and by the time you're in there a few days, you actually kind of just start doing it, but they still have to remind you. So what'll happen is you had a chat and I'm writing notes, and the producer, the voice of God, the VOG will say, "Deb, can you, whatever you're writing and whatever you're doing, could you talk your thoughts out loud for us?"
okay.
And so you'll, if you ever see me going like, "So Darian and Jadeja," and usually I'm writing, are together.
Yeah.
Kevin, I don't know. He's, like, so when you see us, and they did periodically have to remind you, like, "Hey, I know you're thinking about this. Could you," and they did it in a really good way too. They'd say, "Could you talk to me?"
Oh,
So, like, in the sense, like, tell me. And that helped a lot when you were trying to, because it does feel weird just go, "So I think that these people," like when they try and help you feel natural
mhm.
speaking out loud. And they'll be like, "Hey, we need to know, for the audience wants to know, what are you thinking right now?
Yeah.
So can you tell us what you thought of that chat? Like, say it all out loud, speak it."
Yeah.
And I'd be like, "Oh, and every once in a while you actually, at least I did, I would look at the speaker,
Mhm.
which is kind of funny
Yeah.
because I wanted to feel like I was having a conversation. So I'd be like, "So yeah,
And I'm sure they
I
love
mean,
that.
I know." And, again, it took a little while to stop doing things like that. But that was they have to do that because otherwise it feels very unnatural in the beginning.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, my notes in my notebook, like I would study them before I went to bed at night to make sure that, okay, what did I say to this one? Who said this? Was there something sneaky I didn't like here? Like, what am I going to do tomorrow? Because you have to put out your list of who you want to chat with.
Oh,
And
okay.
you rank them too. Like, who's your top people that you need to talk to. Let us know. And because they have to set all this up for you. So it's a lot of strategy. So before I would go to bed at night, I would, and with our private chat, not as many as I expected. There were, for me, there was only one private chat that wasn't that it wasn't shown. Actually, there were two that they were very truncated, that I felt like they kind of lost a little bit of the essence.
Okay.
Most of them I thought they did very well, but some of them not so much. But yeah, so that's how you get that back and forth feeling of us talking.
Well, that's interesting that you have to schedule the private chats, because obviously we think you're just like, hey, Madeline, let me talk to you now,
Right. So the night before you say to them, yeah, tomorrow, like these are the people that I need to talk to tomorrow. And you know that there's going to be group chats. That's automatic. You know there's going to be games. So, you're like, I got to get my chats in. And who's the most strategic chats I got to get in? Like, let's go.
Yeah, you got to stay in this game. Okay, so I'm going to ask you some Madeline questions. But the first one is easy. The disruptor, when y'all did that, I just want to say y'all killed that disruptor mode. Okay, you did it the right way because you worked together and you said what needed to be said so each other could, because we've seen something like that in the past where you switch profiles and people don't do it right. They don't do it right.
So you have to remember the position I was in. I actually thought I was out. Like, I messed up so badly that Gianna saved me. So I knew that. So I knew I was at the bottom. Nobody cared about me. I had no alliance with anybody. I was like, I was done for.
Yeah.
So for me, I started that chat with literally, here's everything that you need to know. And I think that's what opened the door for her to be like, oh, okay.
I felt that, yeah.
Right? Like, because of the position I was in, I had nothing to lose. I was like, it's all out for you. Here. This is everything.
And that was my second question. Do you feel like that changed your game? Well,
100%.
It wasn't looking good for you.
Right. And what actually it did for me, it gave me more confidence, because I was really sad after the first one. I was really sad. It gave me confidence after that, because I felt like, ooh, this is good. We had such a good conversation. I was like, we could do something together. Like, it gave me confidence that, all right, this could be, I could do this. I can do this.
What was that awkward silence, or what was it like in the room when Madeline said that she just straight up lied about Darian? And
Okay.
that was that.
So, all right. So you have to understand, again, everything's a little shorter than what you see.
Yeah.
It's a longer reunion. Okay. Yeah. So when she said that, actually, I laughed. I was like, it didn't even occur to me. Right.
Yeah.
I kind of thought that was funny. But again, I was on the couch.
Yeah.
So for me, I can laugh at that.
Yeah.
I think in the moment, and that's what you see in the moment, it's a very high, intense, moment. We're meeting each other. We've just been, all of us, secluded. We haven't been able to talk to our families. It was very hard on the people who hadn't been in the game the rest of the time to hear, what was going on. And the way she said it, they showed it in a way that made it look like that she just kind of blurted it out. There was more talking that went on to it. And then when they showed her crying, she didn't just suddenly, you missed a lot that happened that caused that.
Okay. And everyone is cool with her today?
100%.
Okay.
So like what I keep trying to explain to everyone is, in that moment, everyone's feelings were valid. Mm-hmm. Everyone's feelings were, of course it made sense, right? And everything makes sense when you're in the game, even though you look back and go, what was I thinking? And then once everything was filmed and over and we went out to dinner, we're all good.
Oh, well, that's good to know.
It was all, and in fact, I don't know if you saw this weekend, I obviously did not stay in the Airbnb. Phil and I needed to nap. We are too old for that shit.
I feel you.
But the kids, I call them the kids and the cat, they all stayed together, and they were great. They made TikToks together, and I was just thrilled because I think it's so easy for also us, the audience, to get wrapped up in that drama as well, because we feel like we know these people, and you do. Right, and you're really wrapped up in it. And in that moment, you're watching it. Oh my God, how could she? Oh my God, right? So it all makes sense. So yeah, I think it's really important that everyone knows, oh no, everyone, we all love each other. And I think they're all great. It was a really, for me, that reunion, I was like, oh, again, I'm in a different headspace from a lot of people with this. I never would have thought I could be on a show like this.
Yeah.
So for me, anything that happened, I didn't care. But this could be big for all these kids.
Yeah.
So again, I always try and say, everyone take, that this in the moment was a big deal. And now everyone just is all cool.
So watching the show back, what surprised you the most, or that someone did on the cast?
That's interesting. Let me think about this.
Okay.
What surprised me the most? Well, obviously Gianna being the catfish, but like during the game, I will say this. I was kind of like Jadeja, Darian. It was weird to kind of watch that because we weren't privy to their conversations.
Yeah.
But it seemed very real. Does that make sense? Which I kept thinking, how can this possibly be real? And I did not know what kind of conversations they were having.
Yeah.
I didn't know. But it felt real to us that those two were a couple.
Well, it makes sense because you never know who's a real couple or not, and
Right.
you never know who might be a catfish or not in your relationship.
But that felt, even through the screen, that felt like there was something that felt like, I think that might actually be real.
Yeah. Well, that
And you
if
thought-
we
and
didn't
you
think
think
so,
to
when we
yourself,
saw
that
that kiss, we knew.
Right. But you think to yourself, that can't be, right? Like it seemed weird. But the way that they talked about each other, and again, you didn't see, we saw even more. I was kind of like, is this, what? Can this really be? No, So that to me is really surprising. And now that I got to watch their conversations,
I know. And then when Darian showed up and they kissed,
I think the producers must have been hard, right? As the producers, because I'm sure they had in their heads, can you imagine a finale where Jadeja and Darian meet, right? Like, they walk out. Imagine how nervous they would be, catfish. Like, have Deb walk out instead, and he'd be like, no, I'd be like, no, I'm Rachel, we're just kidding. But then I thought to myself, I'm sure when he got voted out and the pivot, what are we going to do?
Yeah.
I'm sure they were like, they were praying to the gods of production. Kiss her, please kiss her, please kiss her, please kiss her. I don't think they expected it to be that beautiful and wonderful, right? It was like amazing.
Great moment for them.
But I'm sure that they had to quickly in their heads pivot, be like, oh, please let this be real. Let these two
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, they are ridiculously cute. I hope that they get a whole, like, the circle, Darian and Jadeja, the wedding, the babies, the preschool, the whole
wedding.
thing.
I mean, Jadeja's been planning his wedding since the circle. Okay.
Yeah, I want to see
So
the
she's
whole
ready.
thing. Talk about people being in the room when she has a baby. We're all gonna be like watching that baby come. Like, yeah,
Circle baby.
circle baby, exactly. So I think they're just, that was really a wonderful surprise. How's that?
Okay, I have another game. This is who you would love to win the money with, or you could fake shag because we know you married. And for the sake kill, we'll just say, who would you rank the lowest? Now that you know everybody.
Oh, I can't rank anybody low.
If you want to kill them instead, you can always do that.
No, here's the problem. I'm going to be really honest. Now that I know them, they're children to me.
I know.
Like your kids are like, you like, my brother better. No, I love you. I love them equally. Like, that's the problem now, that they are really unique, interesting, funny, sweet people. And in fact, I will say this. How about this? I'll say this. The person that I think deserves a second chance for everyone to get to know them is Antonia. I'm going to tell you why. It's always hard when you come in. They're almost like a non-entity in some ways. Antonia was probably, out of everyone in the season, myself included, the most diverse talents, has the most diverse talents and the most interesting things that he does. So he's got this huge anime following, huge, and is really big in the anime community and draws it and does stuff like insane. Like, I'm talking 250,000 followers, like huge followers.
Okay.
Writes music, can sing, can cook. Antonio is this whole amazing talent package. And I feel like out of everyone, I feel like you got a good sense of who people were.
Yeah.
They missed out with Antonio.
I always wish he would have just came in as himself, but again, it is hard when you come in last because you're just a loose string that eventually they're going to get to you because you kind of know you're not going to win, but so that's hard. And I always wonder, do you know that you're coming in later in the game?
You don't know until the day filming starts when you're coming in. Wow. They tell you nothing. They actually say, "Be ready." At this time, on this day, we're coming to get you. And you're like, what? Okay, I'm in. And I didn't know if that was first day. Like, I actually didn't know what day. Like, I was like, I don't know, did they start filming already? I had no idea. I just knew I was going in. And then obviously when I got in, I knew obviously it hadn't started filming yet because the first 4 people we had our welcome.
Yeah.
Sorry,
go ahead.
Yeah.
No, I was going to say, I just saw a question in the chat that said, was any ranking hard for you?
Oh, yes, the Garrett one. That was because Madeline I had this bond with now, but then Garrett, and so that's why I thought I was at least being okay by putting Garrett kind of in the middle rather than at the bottom, like I said I would do. Yeah. I kind of was trying to play. You can't play both sides. Yeah, you can't play both sides in this game, but that was the worst one. That one was
Garrett was hard because I think he finally started realizing things, but it was too late at that point. Like he started knowing Madeline probably wasn't telling the truth, even the Kevin stuff. But it was too late, Garrett.
Yeah, I know, and they're all. I want to squeeze them all. I just want to go. I love them. They're all so cute.
Were there ever any times that you think you came in too hot? Because I get those in the comments that you come in too hot, but I love it. I love
I mean, I probably shouldn't spilled everything about Madeline, like with Madeline in that last final chat. I mean, that was stupid, but I was just annoyed. Yeah. I don't know. I just was. Again, you've been in the apartment for a long time.
Are you ready to just end it regardless if you win or lose?
You are. You're kind of like, I don't even care anymore. Can I just go outside? And you could go out. They let you out, by the way, like half an hour every day. I got to go outside in the courtyard. Mm-hmm. So I did get fresh air every day for half an hour. But everything else, like me, like just blowing up the chat where I'm like, you're all a bunch of babies. Stuff for the week. You don't see that. I spent a lot of time yelling at the screen going, grow up, you babies. Like, because they were always like, stop being so nice to each other. Grow up. And so that one was watching that one I was like, oh, Deb.
So is there anything you would change in your gameplay? I mean, you made it to the couch, so you did really good, but is there anything you think you could have done different?
I think I did the smartest thing, and that was making that alliance with Gianna.
Yeah, that was smart.
I wish the only thing I would change, truthfully, I shouldn't have come in so hard at Madeline in that chat because maybe she would have rated me higher. I still think I felt like I won because Gianna won. So as long as it was me or Gianna, I was going to be happy.
The first episode, when I met them twins, I was like, they're winning this. If they can catfish good, they're going to win. And I was so happy to see them win, but I knew it.
They're so... And what you see is what you get. Like, they are the funniest guys. Here's the other thing, though. They love their family guys. Like, they really love their family, and they have so much love for each other. It's really sweet. See, I'm too much of a mom. Like, I can't,
Well, that alliance, I think, was also smart because sometimes I feel like because the circle has been on so long, people just want to grab these alliances, but it only really works when you have a connection as well. Yes. Because people will turn on you, Kevin. Like, we've seen that before.
Poor Kevin.
Every alliance, just whatever.
I'm saying, isn't that such like a typical young guy? Like, okay.
Well, yeah, the first one he dropped was his circle girlfriend, so everybody was doomed.
All right, bro. Like, such a typical, watching his gameplay now, I'm like, I feel like I'm watching my own kids. I'm like, you're so, stop it. Right? You just want to say, what are you doing?
Well, I did think that alliance with Savannah, like they hooked up pretty quickly, and there was no like substance there, so I kind of knew that alliance wasn't gonna. You're hot, I'm hot. Let's be an alliance. Like that's not gonna take you too far. You're all hot, so.
I'll tell you something. Savannah is such a hoot. Oh my gosh, she's really funny.
Yeah,
she's like, yeah.
I was sad when she went home.
I was really sad. You know what? Here's the problem. Especially now that I've had a year to get to know them all, watching it, I was like really sad. I was like, I wish everyone could have. Not that I wanted to stay any longer. Trust me, it was enough.
Yeah.
But I kind of wish everyone had a little more time. Like I said, so everyone could have gotten to know everyone a little bit more.
So every 2 days, somebody had to go, or was
it's
it?
Roughly 2 to 3 days. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That'd be hard for me to get comfortable.
You don't feel like I said, you're waiting. Like if your food list is late, I'm like, where's my food list today? Somebody knows something. Somebody knows I'm out. Like you start to question everything.
Wow. So if there was ever, and Netflix, I'm putting it out there, if there was ever a Circle Champions where they asked people to come back, would you come back? And who would you want to play with outside of your cast?
So yeah, I couldn't play with anyone in my cast again. Although I could, obviously, if they were catfish. I mean, I wouldn't want to
catfish again. But I don't know if you got it in you, but
right. Yeah, I think it would be really fun to come back, knowing what I know now. But I actually think it would be better if we were allowed to come back as coaches. Like someone's playing the game and they can like tag me in. Like, and I'd be like, I wouldn't do that if I were you. Like, I would have loved that. I would have loved to have someone be like, no. Yeah. Hang on.
Oh, your lifeline?
Yes, like a lifeline. Like, wouldn't that be funny if everyone had like their lifeline and you don't know who it is, and all of a sudden it's like, Deb, aka Rachel, is here to help you, and I'm like, do.
I would love if everyone was just a catfish and you had to like.
That would be hilarious. I think that would be really fun. We were talking about what would be funny is if the people who were our catfishes went on the show and like we helped them. But they went in and played. Yeah,
that would be good.
The catfishes had to catfish, and they could get help from the people that we were their catfish. It's like triple catfish, I think, basically.
If anyone has questions, thank you, Deb, for answering all my questions. If anyone in the comments has a question for Deb that we didn't get to, please write it now, or CC, who's my moderator. If you have any, I can check really quick.
I saw was the finale longer, which I answered. Yes, it was longer. And it was freezing in there, by the way. Freezing, which was good for me. Really, really good for me because I'm in a constant like hot thing. So I walked in there, I was like, woo! This is fantastic. I'm trying to think if there's any other. So I told you about Antonio. I'm trying to think if there's any other kind of fun little tidbits about everyone. Oh wait, did you get a heads up if the block? Oh, they're so mean. Okay, so this is what they do to you with the block players. So you know how we all look? They show those scenes where we all look at the door. Mm-hmm. They do knock on everybody's door.
Oh.
So you get a knock, and you literally, and then they'll go, "Not you."
That's funny. Well, that is actually good because I always wondered, are you guys just pretending to hide?
No, they freak us out. Oh, and how to get to the influencer spot. You guys, this is hilarious. Anytime you went anywhere in the building, okay, they made you put a mask on, even though we were all separated by, like, there was floors and 3 apartments. Like, we would never run into each other. You were not allowed out of your apartment by yourself. So when you had to go anywhere, like when I went to the gym, which I did not want to go to the gym. They're like, Deb, we need to film you somewhere else. I'm like, fine. Or when I went to the laundry room, they make you wear a mask and they lead you there because they also, there's stuff in the hallways, I'm sure, that they didn't want us to see. Maybe they were preparing for stuff, so they would lead you there. So that's how you don't bump into each other. They make sure, same thing when you have your outside time. It's obviously blocked off that when they lead me out there, I'm going to be the only one out there. So no, we never ran. We had a fire alarm actually that we weren't sure if we were supposed to leave. It was a whole thing. So I think that would have been, can you imagine if the fire alarm, if we had all just run out of our apartments and we all ran into each other?
Well, the funny thing is no one would have recognized you though, because
everyone would be like, who are you? Who are you? Who are you?
All the catfishes, you can come out.
Exactly. And someone asked about the private chats. Yeah, like I said, I do know some people's private chats weren't shown at all. I'm I'm not 100% sure if mine were, one wasn't shown, or I think some of my chats with Garrett and Antonio were really truncated, like really. I didn't feel like my chats with Antonio and Garrett, which Tiara and Garrett were shown enough to get a feel that we had actually made a very nice connection. So like with Tiara, we had talked a lot about her little girl, and I thought Tiara was definitely not a catfish. Like, and I said this to Antonio, I was like, you love Tiara's daughter, don't you? Like, I could tell because the way we had this conversation and talked about, and because he's done all these things with her little girl, like, you know, we bake together, we do this together. And I was like, oh my God, you're such a good mommy. And so you didn't get to see that. Same thing with Garrett. We spoke a lot about just, you know, things going on and how we felt, like, you know, and I was trying to be like my 20s, like, yeah, I don't know what to do either. You know, life is hard. And, you know, so you didn't get to see that. That's, I think, the only ones for me that I felt were left out. I can't remember if they cut an entire chat or they just, the chat you saw me in, they left out a lot of it.
Okay. Someone asked me a question. If I was on the circle, I would definitely be a catfish. I feel like it's the funnest way to play. It's the hardest, but
you know what's fun about it? Like me, you know, going like, I'm that bitch and you're, you know what? You don't care because you do feel like you're wearing a mask.
Yeah.
You feel there is this sense of when you're looking on the screen and you see this other person, it does give you a little bit more freedom to be a little more like, nah, I don't care. Like, even though it doesn't make sense, but it does in the moment.
I got that. But I would definitely, that's what I would do. I want to have the most fun.
You know, wouldn't it be fun? Like, I think it would be fun. You know what would be really funny? So there's, you know, I've now gotten to know all of these, people who host these podcasts and stuff. It would be hilarious if they did a season of podcasters who really know these shows and have spoken like you, who have got, wouldn't that be interesting to get people who have, right? Like, actually, when you said that would be really cool. Like, people who have spoken to players, who have watched this game, that would be so fascinating. And you would all play catfish. You would all have to catfish. You would all have to catfish. Because you might recognize each other. You might recognize, but wouldn't that be interesting? That would be kind of interesting to watch. People who kind of like, you know, QT thought she knew the game, right? Like, she went in there like, I know this game.
Yeah.
You guys know these games. Like, that would be really funny.
Yes, I mean, I watch it so much, but the game has changed where, like, I feel like in the beginning it was all about we got to find a catfish. But for you, I feel like everyone kind of knew you were a catfish, and they let you stay. It's not a big deal.
Well, I think, you know, especially because I had such a rough beginning, nobody saw me as a threat. It's the same reason why keeping Kevin around towards that middle where I put him as like third, I think at some point. It was the only time I rated him that I was like, I think I need to keep him around. Like, he's not going to win. Meanwhile, he almost did. Yeah, he almost did.
When Jadeja was like, oh, I thought everyone else was going to rate him last, so I rated him number 1. And I'm like, Jadeja girl, what?
Here's the thing. I want everyone to understand what I said. Remember this. It makes sense at the time.
Yeah.
Your mind is going 1,000 miles per hour. So you literally think, like, when she said that to herself, she's like, yeah, that makes sense. Trust me. At the moment, she was definitely in her head, like, perfect sense. And now watching it, you're like, what?
And we're all screaming at the TV, like, but we all know, I mean, the biggest scream was when, you know, Darian picked old Kevin to help him out.
But, you know, you have to imagine they left him overnight with that decision. Remember that?
Oh.
So I guarantee you that's what happened. Overnight, he's like, I can't, like, what if, like, Jadeja, she's real. Like, I can't put her on the hot seat. I'm sure that played in his head. That's why they waited and made him, because I know, like, overnight, he probably did not sleep well because he was like, I don't want people to come after her. If she's the one who, you know, does the blocking, this is terrible. I can't do this. Like, I get what he was thinking. And again, he probably, the original thing, if they had allowed him to pick right then, if they said, you have to pick now, he would have said Jadeja. It was brilliant that the producers said, we're going to give you
We'll make you wait on it.
We want you to think about this. And that's the problem with being in the apartment by yourself. Too much time to think. Too much time.
Yeah, bad move, man.
Mm-hmm.
But I always got that he didn't want Jadeja to, you know, because if he picked her and we would have known it was you, Darian. But guess what? Darian would have been there the next day.
he was in a bad position, and no matter what happened, he was in a bad position no matter what. But I watching it now, and I know what happened. Like, I'm sure he went to bed, and he did not go to bed. Like, when we say goodnight circle, he definitely did not go to sleep. He was like in his mind playing these things back and forth. This is a funny, does time move slowly in the apartment? This is actually a funny story about the time in the apartment. We get in there and we have a clock on our oven, but the time is wrong because I knew it was early in the morning when I got in there and it was saying like 11. I thought they were messing with our heads. I thought we weren't allowed to know what time it was. So for the first 2 days, I would actually go look outside. I'm like, sun's up in the sky. It's 12. Like, it was like a sundial. So I was like, okay. So I think the third day, my battery pack guy came in. So they had to change out my battery. My mic wasn't working. I said, am I not supposed to know what time it is? He said, of course you can know what time it is. I went, can I have the time on my oven? He goes, of course you can. So we put the time on my oven. So, there you go.
Yeah.
When we were at dinner, everyone started talking about how they can't believe for 2 weeks or whatever it was, they didn't know what time it was. And I'm like, you guys, yeah, you were allowed to get the clock on your oven fixed. And everyone was like, no, I thought that they were doing that to me. Everyone thought the wrong time was deliberate so that we wouldn't know what time it was.
I would have thought that too.
Yeah, and does time move slowly? You know what's really funny? I read 7 books because we forget in our everyday lives how phones, TV, like, I got lost in, it's been a long time since I was able to get really lost in a book. And there were points where they had to be like, Rachel. And I'd be like, what? And they said, we have a chat coming up. Like, you got to put your book down. Like, I would actually get lost in time. Same thing when I was doing my art project. I sometimes would get so involved in it. They'd be like, your chat. So like, I was like, oh, so I don't know. There was this kind of peace in there and I didn't feel like time was dragging. Oh, what did I read? Ooh, I read, why am I blanking right now? The one that I read that I really loved, it was the prequel to, oh my God, the Alice Hoffman, The Witching. Oh, it was the prequel to that one. And now I'm blanking. That was the one that I was really into about, and now I'll have to look it up for you. So the one that I read that I was most excited about was the one that has to do with, Alice Hoffman's Black Magic, but it was like the one where you find out how the curse on the witches began. And now I'm blanking on the title of it, but it was really good. I loved it.
I have to look it up.
And then I did read A Brief History of Everything. I tried to like educate myself a little bit as well.
Yeah.
And then what else did I read? I read, what's that one? This is going to kill me now. I'm going to have to look. The Midnight Library. Midnight Library. That was really good.
Oh.
Yes, Midnight. That was about a person who like they get to see different ways their life could have turned out and stuff.
Oh, that sounds like a good one.
Yeah, and so those are 3. But I read 7 books. Really crazy. So I did that. I did the latch hook. Took me this thing, which if you've never done a latch hook before, it's very intense. It's like
we saw you.
each line. I finished it on the last day, and you do see me standing at the counter going, I'm not leaving till I'm done. Like, I had 1 line left, and they're like, you have to go, you got to go get ready for the finale. I'm like, no. And I finished it on the last day. So that was 2 weeks worth of. So what? I played, wait, you're going to laugh. I played jacks. I played a lot of, we're very lazy. We forgot that you could play solitaire with cards instead of on our phones. I can't believe the amount of solitaire that I played.
I used to love that game as a kid. I would just be on the couch and I would play it. So that would be something I would do.
Yeah, it was, it's kind of shocking how you come up with things to do.
How were you allowed to bring anything that you wanted to bring, like in terms of books and puzzles or coloring books or whatever you needed?
So they provided some puzzles and coloring books, and I brought my own books, and you'll see, like, if you ever notice, books are covered because they can't show them on TV. So I brought my own books. I brought they gave me the latch hook. They had asked me, is there an art project you want? I was like, if you can get me a latch hook, I'd love it. Because I used to do it when I was a kid. And they actually had those waiting for me. What else did I bring in? I brought the jacks with me because I wanted to make sure I had that because I felt like I was back at camp, summer camp, like playing jacks. Yeah, I did a lot of coloring. I had sticker books. Sticker books are fun. Oh, sticker books.
Sticker book in a while.
Sticker books. I know that was really fun. So yes, and then if you wanted anything else, you could ask for stuff. Like I think some people had fake Legos and they were building Lego things and stuff like that.
Did you know what times, I mean, when you had the right time, when you would be filming? Did they say, hey, tomorrow we're going to be ready for you at 8 a.m. Just wake up?
No, they didn't say it that way. It was just kind of haphazard. You never knew what was going to happen. Someone just said, can you nap? I have to tell you, you guys, the very last episode, do you see where they wake me up? At one point, I'm like, what? You know, every day. Every day I fell asleep at some point on the couch every single day. Every single day they'd have to wake me. And I'd be like, what? Huh? Every time I was confused. Every time I was like massively, but yes, I took a nap every day. It's more of a general thing. They'll say, so, you know, tomorrow is a blocking, you know, this is going to be a big day, get a good night's sleep. And, you know, make sure you got your chats in and make sure, you know, who you want to chat, you know, they kind of give you kind of this general
overview,
but you don't know when things are going to happen. You do know they're going to wake you up, they go, good morning, Rachel. And you're like, oh, and you get up and you start getting ready. So, you know, like you're going to have time to get ready in the morning. They're not going to immediately, they'll give you a second to like wake up. Like they won't like right. I mean, there was one time where they were kind of like, you got 5 minutes, starting to chat now. But most of the time they give you a little bit more than that. There was very rare that they didn't give you some time in the morning to kind of pull yourself together.
And after the reunion, you just kind of go back to the apartment, pack up, get out of there. Like what happened?
No, we do it first. That's the thing. So what they do is it's the end of the day and you packed up throughout the day while you were chatting and doing everything. And they actually take everything from your apartment and they take your outfit, your finale outfit, and you get ready at where the finale's filmed. Yeah.
Wow. So they pack you up. Well, that's good. You don't have to pack up yourself.
And then our stuff's at the hotel. And then what was really nice was afterwards, like I said, after the finale, we all got to go to the hotel, go out for this really nice dinner where we spent hours together. And that's when Jadeja and Darian were sitting together the whole dinner. And we were all like, wow. And then guys, we got to watch all year that they couldn't post any pictures together. So we have pictures of their Valentine's Day together, when they went on vacations together, when they met each other's parents. And so we couldn't say anything.
Well, that's good. They could at least hang out with each other. Like they didn't have to keep it. I mean, this wasn't a dating show. In dating shows, I think they have to keep, you can't even show out with somebody.
Right. So and it was great. Like, so and it was really cute because when people started seeing them flirting in the circle, they're like, I was getting constant messages from my friends. Please tell me they're together. Please tell. And I was like, stop. I can't. And people have asked me, my husband and my children, I told them nothing about what happened on the show. I wanted them to be surprised by everything. The only one who knew and my mother, same thing. The only one who knew the outcome was my husband, of course.
Yes.
He's the only one who knew the outcome. My kids didn't, my mom didn't, my friends didn't. And I told them they didn't know I had to sext. Like I wanted this to be fresh and people cannot believe, like, you didn't tell Phil. I was like, nope, I didn't tell Phil.
Yeah, that was one of my questions. I forgot. How did Phil, when he saw that episode, when your kids saw that episode?
Oh, my kids were like, fast forward. They were not, fast forward. There you go. Phil thought it was hilarious because, again, I mean, I'm not joking. You know, a sext for us is, hey, Deb, I unloaded the dishwashers or anything. I was like, oh, you did that and you did the laundry? Get up here. Like, that's a sext, you know? I mean, we've been married 29 years. Like,
yeah.
You know, a sext is, do you want me to get you coffee while I'm out? Like,
sounds good to me.
That's it. So he thought that was hilarious. And people have said to him, like, oh, is Deb going to start sexting? He was like, God, I hope not. And then I'm just like, please, no. Nobody, no, not my generation.
Someone asked, what was your hardest part in your circle experience?
I mean, you know, this is the thing that everybody says. So obviously being apart from Phil, because we've been together for 29 years, the longest we've ever been apart was a week in this 29 years.
Oh, wow.
When I had to go for training, you know, for my sales meetings, things like that. The hardest part was actually being alone with your thoughts for that long. It really does mess with, like, that's why now I understand, and it puts me in such an interesting position now, right? When I watch a reality TV show now and someone makes a dumb mistake, I'm like, they had too much time on their hands. That's really hard. It does. You start to play things over and over. And I think I messed this up. And then you start to think, like I said, the fact I was waiting for them to give me my grocery list. And if they didn't get it, I was like, ooh, somebody knows something, don't they? Or like when, the battery pack guy was like, my microphone probably doesn't work anymore. Like, where is he? He usually by now has put in a new battery.
Yeah.
You start to get, everything's a conspiracy. Like it does get a little not normal. That was a little bit harder, than I expected. The constant questioning myself, and am I doing this right? And what should I do next? And you're reminded it would have been nice to win the money. Let's be honest. I mean, I'm glad, the Twins won, but that's not pocket change. That's some nice money. And so that plays on you as well. Because you think, wow, every day you get closer, like maybe I could win.
How much downtime did you have?
Depended on the day, to be honest. There were days where you were like, I felt like we were busy a lot. And there were days where I'd have a chat and then I'd fall asleep on the couch. And then we'd play a game and then I'd read like 5 chapters of a book. And then we'd have, another, I'd have my private chat. Like, it just depended. Some days I felt like I went from chat to game to party. Like, every day was a little different. Every day. And I think part of that has to do with they have to shift their ideas depending on who gets blocked, right?
Yeah.
So I'm sure.
I always felt like I was a producer in my real life, but I always feel like there's this big book that they have. And if something happens, they're like, okay, we're going to have to try to pivot it this, like they have something for everything that happens.
You're probably too young for these books, but they used to have these choose your own adventure books when I was a kid, right? So I feel like that's like what they have. Like at this juncture, who goes home? Does Kevin go home? Or does Andy go home? And whoever, like they have both options ready, but they can't really plan ahead. And I think some of that also has to do with the games they choose. Like I was still in the game. Let's put a game in there where we know that Deb's going to struggle because she's not going to know those acronyms.
Yeah.
Right? Like if I had been the first one out, maybe they wouldn't have used those questions. Right? Think about it. They knew they were going to trip me.
That was a hard game though for anybody. That was a hard game.
Right. But think about like that. I'm sure they were like, all right, who's still in the game? We want questions that could trip them up. If I hadn't been there, maybe they would have been different.
Well, the biggest moment to me was the first episode when we thought Gianna was going home. I'm like, there's no way in hell this casting department is going to let these twins go the first episode. Disrupt.
I am 100% sure the same thing. Like, I'm sure that they don't want really anyone to go home the first episode. Like, they've learned their lessons about that. Yeah. But how do you play that, right?
Yeah.
How do you play that in a way? And I thought the Disruptor was fantastic.
Yeah.
I thought that was a great and someone asked me recently, like, didn't you figure that you were going to get a bad disruption? Like, there have been 2 good ones in a row. And I said, yeah. I said, but I was desperate. Like I had only one alliance. Everyone was like mad at me. Like
you didn't have anything to lose at that moment.
That's exactly right. And that's what I said. I was like, did I think it was going to be a bad disruption? 100%. Did I think it was going to be that bad? No, I did not.
But I really don't think it was that bad. I mean, you guys had to make it till it was over without getting blocked, but I didn't think it was that bad. I did want one right before the finale, like right before you guys rated the last ratings. I was really hoping, like, let's get this Disruptor in there. Yeah. And then Madeline got the secret influencer, which I don't even know what gameplay was there with that one. But
I'm trying to think. On that one, I think I rated her high. I think I did too. I think at that point we still were. I don't know. I have to think about that. What did I do in that one?
Well, she had the last block of the circle.
Yeah.
And I thought it was a bad move to block Jadeja because I didn't think Jadeja at that point was going to win the game. And you really had to take out a Kevin or someone because at that point it's like, really, what do you have to lose? You already.
But here's your problem. See, you're thinking because you can talk to me about this.
Yeah.
I know, like when you talk to Matt, if you get a chance to get Madeline on here, I'm sure she'll explain to you, like in her head, she was thinking that Jadeja played that perfect down the middle game, that she'd be like Kevin and Gianna were so polarizing. They were going to get highs and lows, but Jadeja could slide in for the win because maybe everyone would rank her 2 and 3.
That's true. But I just think with Gianna and Kevin, they were the only influencers. Like they were the influencers for so long.
Well, I could have been an influencer. Yeah, I know this person, Jadeja, wasn't a threat, but again, your brain doesn't work like a normal person's brain at that point.
And that's been how many days in once you get to
so at that point, nothing makes sense to you anymore, right? Like you're kind of like, well, they can't, and it's almost like, you know how everything is when you ask people, if I flip a coin 10 times, and they were heads, what are the chances that it's going to be tails the next? You know, the truth is every time you flip a coin, it's 50-50, right?
Yeah.
But you don't think that way. So, and I'm sure, and you'd have to talk to Madeline, but I'm guessing, this is what I think. I'm guessing in her headspace, there's no way anyone's going to rank them high again, right? That can't be, number one. Okay, it can't be. Number two, even if someone ranks them high, they're so polarizing, they got to get low ones. I could see the thought process becoming, who's playing that nice middle game, who out of nowhere, you know, everyone puts them 2 or 3 and they get the win.
Yeah. Well, the problem is you and Gianna's alliance, that was going to mess it up either way because you both were going to rate each other number 1.
Yeah. So I think that was kind of, you know, an interesting, how do you play that?
Yeah.
So that's kind of, you know, and I hope you get Madeline on here because I think it'll be interesting to pick.
I don't know if she's going to like some of my videos, but I'll try to.
Oh, no. Can I just say something, Madeline? I give her so much credit. She's played into it. She's like, you know what? I'm the villain. I get it. You know what? Hate me. She's just like, whatever. And I actually was talking to her recently, and I was like, I hope they put you on House of Villains or Traitors. And
Traitors will be good.
Wouldn't that be fun? Like, she'd be so good on there. So I think she's just at this point leaning into it. She's like, you know what? Someone had to shake it up. You know? Yep. Oh, Jadeja, Darian, and Garrett are on a live right now. Oh, God, can I just tell you? Jadeja and Darian are killing me right now. They're ridiculously cute. If they don't have a circle wedding, I'm going to lose my mind. I'm going to lose my. If there's not a circle wedding, I'm going to lose my mind. And you know, I can't even begin to imagine, like I said, how much fun. I can't. I'm not even going to talk about it. I'm just going to be excited for them.
And we'll be able to watch the circle wedding, I hope.
I know, but I really want to have. I think if you reach out to Madeline, though, she's really. I give her a lot of credit. She's leaned into this. She's like, okay.
When I make my videos, I get really fired up. So it's a game to me too. I just get fired up, and I usually make them right when I watch the episodes, so I can just give all that emotion. So
you know, I'll tell you one funny. People have said mean things to me, whatever. But there was one that just made me laugh, and I thought it was funny. Someone's like, you didn't know what you were doing. Like they were basically ragging on my gameplay, and they're like, you were a stupid cow. Now, for some reason, that just made me laugh. Like it just made me laugh. And what I wrote back to them was "moo, bitch." Like and I wrote it MOOOOOO, right? Because you know. And so Madeline, I think Madeline's thing. Like, yeah, but I made it entertaining. So
she did that. She did make it entertainment. So I give that to her. Does anyone else have any questions? Because it's late for our girl Deb on the East Coast. So if anyone has
anything after 11. Oh my God,
we've been having so much fun.
You know what? You are, Jen. You are adorable. I think you should get. I think that would be really funny. I want someone to pitch this. That we get like all these people who really know reality TV and have met with them. Get them on a show. Have them. Oh, now that's.
Netflix, are you here? Do you hear, Deb?
Right? You know, talk about watching you guys in the hot seat, right? Like that to me, now that's fun.
It will be good. That would be good. And I watched I just got into Traitors, and I cannot stop watching it. I just love it.
What's the host's name? What's his name? The host. Cummings.
Yes. The best.
Amazing, right?
Yes.
The brilliance of putting him as the host.
the outfits, just how dramatic he is, the murder. It's just
everything.
It's everything. I'm watching the UK version because I couldn't get enough of it.
Everything. I think the whole thing's amazing. So yeah, I think Matt. Actually, maybe they put Kevin on the Traitors. That would be hilarious because he would be like, "What? Huh?" But he would probably be the best traitor because he wouldn't even know.
People wouldn't even know he cannot be the traitor. And people would think that. And he's like, okay.
You're like, it's me. He would probably say it's me. It's not. Like, it would be very confusing.
He's like, we got to find these traitors. Okay, it can't be Kevin. Meanwhile, he forgets he is the traitor.
That would be the. See, he's so sweet. He wouldn't even know. He'd be like, wait, it was me?
He's like, who's the traitor?
You got to get Kevin on. You got to ask him.
I'll try to get Kevin on. I'm trying to get everyone on because I love you guys.
Get Kevin on. Get Heather. Although Heather's away. Heather's in she's doing a tour. That's why she's all over Europe right now.
Okay. I felt bad for her. I think she got a bad hand in the game too. So I would love.
Yeah. So she's around Europe, but yeah, Garrett's leaving soon. So if you want to get Garrett, reach out to him. I know he's going to be going back to Dubai soon.
Okay.
So he'll be on a weird time. Like he'll be way off from us time wise.
Yeah.
That's what you got to do.
Well, I thank you so much for coming on my first interview, Deb. I'm so excited. Thank you for coming. Everyone, thank you for coming to my live.
Thank you, everybody. So great. And Jen, you are the TV queen. You're amazing. Please keep in touch with me. I'll keep in touch with you.
Yes.
If I hear any rumors about any weddings, I'll let Jen know in a private message.
Okay. My circle chat is open. Okay.
All right. Circle chat is open. Yes. Good night, Circle.
Bye,
Good night,
everyone. Thank you for coming.
Bye, guys.
Good night.
Bye.
Now let's figure out how to end it. Okay. Hey everyone, thank you so much for coming to my live tonight. Again, this was my first interview with Deb from The Circles. I'm so happy she came through. I'm so happy you guys answered your questions. I hope you had a good time. I had a good time because I was nervous as hell for this live. Okay, so I'm just happy you all are here. Cece, my girl, my moderator, thank you for all your help tonight. I know it is late on the East Coast. Now I gotta go put these kids to bed because I'm sure they're running around like, where is my mama? Okay, so thank you all. And if there are any Tell Me Lies fans in the building, okay, I'm gonna do a live watch party next week on Tuesday. It'll be 9 p.m. for me on Tuesday, but midnight for y'all. I'm gonna do a watch party, and I'm also gonna do a live chat on Wednesday evening to talk about the finale. So if anyone's interested, follow me, and my live events are up on my page. Thank you everyone so much for the love, and I'm signing off. Thank you everyone.